guys have been so busy working, and I was tied up on another job all the last 2 days. So let's go inside. I bet they've accomplished a ton of painting that I haven't seen yet. So we'll see it together. These guys have been hard at work. So you can see most of the doors are in place. This pantry doors are here. They've got a little bit of tweaking to do. Missing the doors here, but all these are in place. Now we are still got a little bit of work to do. Like obviously a little strip's gonna go between those doors. It'll be attached to the back of one. So when you open it, it'll come out the same here. That's because the doors, well, you can see there's a gap between the drawers, but there was not a gap between the doors. And we wanted those to line up. So we're gonna do a false face frame in between. Here's where he's prepped those pieces. So he, of course, he's on that window to go around. What else? The hood. The hood is ready to go, but we're gonna tile all the way up and then put the hood in place. So these doors are actually 4 doors, just so they're not such a monolithic look, but we're gonna attach them so that they open as a door here and a door there. We brought a little bit of that dark color to this side of the room, on the wine and on the bottom. The big doors are in place over there. We've got a pantry door on the bottom, but the top door is actually just a faux door. So we are mighty close. We've got more painting to do. Touch-up paint. I've got to paint the walls, paint the trim. And then I've got to get to work tiling some backsplash. Okay, so the last of the doors are in place. Today, Jesus has worked on, he ripped down these 1-bys, and these are gonna be the strips between those doors. There's 3 sets of those. We have finished painting the ceiling, and we're moving our attention to the walls. And tomorrow is an exciting day. Jesus and the guys have been working nonstop. Tomorrow, it's my turn to work. We are gonna start tiling the backsplash. Good morning. It's tile day. So we've got a lot of prep to do first. We are going to mark where the hood's gonna go, and we're gonna tile and then put the hood in front of the tile. But the reason we're marking is because we're not tiling all of it, just a little bit past the hood, so the hood will sit on the tile. We're tiling all the way around here, and then the 2 sides over there. So I was hoping that we could start over there because I knew those would be easier, but it looks like Jesus is prepping for us to start here. So we'll see where we start. I won. We started where I wanted to start. So if you can see, there's 1 row. Flip around. All right, because when we get over there and those countertops are so unlevel, we are not gonna start with a tile on the countertop because that's gonna be a cut. So what we wanna make sure is that a clean tile is at the bottom of the cabinets and that runs up behind the hood. So we did the same thing here. So I decided to make these 2 sides match. So I started with a half and a whole, and I got that first row across. Ideally, you start from the bottom and work up so that the tile can rest on itself, but that doesn't work here. So here we go, 1 course almost. I gotta cut one at that very end, but for the most part, 1 course is in place. So we are rocking and rolling here. We have got this last course. Jesus is cutting those. We are making a good team. I'm measuring, he's cutting. He uses a saw all day long, so he's a lot quicker and more accurate than I am. So we are almost done with this one. Now, as you can see, we used a lot of tape because they were sagging. But the good thing is we think now that we've done one and we know what these cuts look like, we can start from the countertop and work our way up there. We're gonna cut that bottom course, probably give ourselves a level line, cut to it, and then work up. It's gonna go a lot faster if we're not having to worry about sag. All right, so this side is done. Now I'm moving my attention over here. So where on this tile we killed into the door, we have a little wall here, so we had to use some Schluter. And then we have this weird light switch. So Jesus did a masterful job trimming that around that light switch. So I used a little mud, put that in place, made sure it's nice and plumb. And now I'm gonna start with my first tile. We have cut these all the way along the bottom to match those. And hopefully it'll all work out. All right, Jesus just did the last 3 cuts for right there, and then this side is done. And I've already started over there. So let me finish this, and then I'll show you over there. All right, over here, I have marked our center line. We wanna make sure the tile is centered under the hood. So I did a center line and then a line on either side. I've done a tiled centered on that center line, and I'm gonna go out and then up. All right, we kicked it into high gear between Jesus cutting and me tiling. We got this done super quick. So we've gone up to the bottom of where the hood's gonna be. We've also still got to do these little arches in here. That's for tomorrow. And then we've got to go all the way around. We've got this little weird corner here. Remember where there's a chase? So we've got to figure out exactly how we're gonna handle that. So we're gonna debate that. So we are calling it a day for today. And tomorrow we'll be back to keep going. Hey everybody, new day, same outfit, same project. No need to ruin 2 outfits. So we finished this up late yesterday. We've turned the corner. We started in the middle. I'm headed this way. Jesus is headed that way. I've gotten a lot farther, but he's also cutting. So I do have an unfair advantage. So this section's almost done. He's cutting around the window. We're gonna head that way. And then that little corner's gonna get tricky, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Okay, we have finished this side. And here's what we decided to do, was do this little corner first. And we kept up with our pattern. So this seam is at what would be the halfway point of this tile. And then we pulled our Schluter out so that it's flush with the thickest point of this tile. Of course, the tile is beveled, so it varies from top to bottom. We've taped this in place, and now we're gonna tile this way so that you'll have a clean cut here up against the Schluter, and this Schluter covers up that cut. So that's the plan. Let's see if it's gonna work. So Jesus is out there cutting the last few ones to go around the bottom, and all of this is done. We've gotten these all the way around. So now we're turning our attention to here, and we're not tiling all the way up because we've got to mount this and vent it out. But honestly, after all the geometry I've been doing, this might have made more sense to just tile it. It's because we want this to flow all the way up in these areas, but we had to cut just the tiniest little sliver off of here and here. It would have been so much easier if these could have been whole tiles that went all the way up, but it's not. So I've marked a bunch of them, and Jesus is cutting them, and we hope this is gonna work. Completion. Obviously, it's super jagged, but that's okay. The hood is gonna cover all of that up. We're done all the way around. Jesus is cleaning up after me. He has been the hero cutting all of these. I don't think he cut a single one wrong, where I would have probably cut 3/4 of them wrong on the first cut. And tomorrow we grout. We're using a grout that's almost the same color as the tile. It's called Light Almond. I've already picked up the caulk that's the same color. So tomorrow I'll show you where we grout and where we caulk. And would you look at there, there's grout. So I got this section and this section grouted. Now you can tell that the edges are ugly, and that's because we've picked up the caulk that matches the grout that we're gonna use along the top, bottom, and sides. And then I got a good chunk of this grouted. Now this we tiled 2 days ago. That last course, if you remember. And all of this we tiled yesterday. So I've decided to wait at Jesus's suggestion and let this set up a little bit more before we grout it. So that's tomorrow's project. This is nice and dry. Good morning, y'all. So early this morning we got started. We powered through and it is all grouted. Grouted, cleaned. We're gonna let it set up. We've still got caulking to do in places. And the next thing is once this is dry, we can mount this hood, which is gonna be exciting. The homeowner, he particularly is very excited about his hood. So that is one of our next projects. Yesterday, Jesus got all of our knobs and pulls on, other than the ones that are going on these big doors. I received those last night, so they're going on today. But you can see that they're all over the house, or all over the kitchen, and it gives us a little pop of nickel. Now, Jesus is working on the piece that's gonna go behind these two doors to attach them so that they function as one door. We got our little shelf in there. You remember it was supposed to go over here. I think it's really gonna be more functional in here. It gives her somewhere to fold, put detergent, all of those things in her new and improved laundry closet. This is the grout that was done yesterday, so you can see it's basically dry, and it definitely dried a lot lighter. It's very close to our tile color, which is light almond. So as you can see, the hood is going in, and it is a tight fit, which is what we want. All right, you got it in place, using some screws to hold it in place. So this end is really starting to look complete. First of all, we've cleaned up. We've gotten all the garbage, all the plastic, protective wrap, brown paper is up. We have caulked all around here. We still need to get our electricians in. We got all the knobs on. I love these big oversized knobs. We've got a faux knob on our faux door. Do you remember back when we first started, there was the two drawers with a spacer between them, but these doors bigger. So we ended up adding that faux face frame between the doors so that now your drawer and your door are the same width. Okay, today is what should be our last day at the kitchen facelift. You can see we've almost cleaned up everything. Let's go inside. We are literally down to the finest little details. All right, we are inside. Finest little details. Jesus decided to paint inside the refrigerator just to give it a little cleaner look. We got the hood in. Electrical came yesterday and hooked us up, literally. And Jesus just got the hood in. I am coming around with a little scraper and cleaning off any of the excess grout and gunk on the tile. We've got the oven in. The microwave's not here yet. And then we've just got touch up. We are down to the finest details. I am doing things like cleaning out drawers, wiping down, putting these little clear plastic thing, little bumpers on doors. Jesus is doing the last little bit of touch-up paint and repainting things that need it. We've got to level this fridge and slide it back. Little touch up here and there, and we're good to go. I wanted to show you, so if you recall, this light fixture is now in the wine bar part of the kitchen. And before, it was here over the kitchen table. So we reallocated that. And then we got this new fixture in here, which I love. It's kind of a little fun, unexpected, little bit modern. And then of course, we updated the can lights and we updated the under cabinet lighting, which really shows all of the facets, the beveled edge in these tiles. All this has been cleaned. It's pretty much done, other than all the doors are open because of a little bit of wet paint. But we've got to touch up the trim paint and touch up the blue in a few spots, and then do a little bit more cleanup. All right, so here is the final view of this laundry closet that we put in. We've got a door combo there, and a double door here. And then looking down here, it looks so good. Of course, you remember our refrigerator, which was the inspiration for the whole thing. We've got just a little bit of wet paint, so we're gonna keep this open. But microwave is on its way. Cabinets look great. Seuss did an outstanding job building the cabinets, building the new doors and drawer fronts. Check out this awesome hood. We have a fairly low ceiling, so it's hard to pick out or pick up pre-made hoods. So we did this one custom. Looks so good. That's a good hood. Cooktop was already here, but we worked around that. We worked on this pocket door, and then you can see we're still cleaning up down there at the end. So to recap, we were limited with our base cabinets because the floor plan worked and they wanted to keep it. We wanted to keep the countertops, and then we had an inspiration with the refrigerator. Way back, we talked about these beams. There was one beam there that we took out, which makes such a difference in this space. And that beam would have run like not centered, but like right here on the hood. It would have been awful. We did new doors and new drawer fronts on the bottom, built all new cabinets on the top, got rid of those horrible soffits that were in here. Now here we kept the beams, so the doors had to be just a little bit lower. The same here. Of course, we got that chandelier in place. Pantry door, faux door. Reworked these doors, and then brought a little bit of that paint color over here on this side to tie it all in. We are this close to being done. Well, folks, that's a wrap on a kitchen facelift. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. From there to here, it all looks fantastic. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope that you'll come back, because we are moving around the block to start working on a bathroom. Come back and see that project next.